I'm Justin Davis, and this is Joe Camp's RC. I'd like to dedicate this episode to the one, the only Mr. Charles Bradley. We lost Charles Bradley a couple weeks ago, and I was kind of shocked to find that out because I'm a huge Charles Bradley fan. Me and my other half are. We saw him originally at Bonnaroo in 2012, and he had a crowd of maybe like 100 people. And even though he only had a crowd of 100 people, which is actually pretty good to my standards, and he did a show in the middle of the daytime. He played his heart out to that 100 people, and I've never really seen something like that before. I have seen James Brown play another time, and I've seen B.B. King, but this man right here, you could tell when he sang that he had been through some things in life, and that he'd already gotten to that point where some of us need to get to find peace after such a hard life. He was at that pinnacle of the point where he seemed like he understood the world around him, and how to just set all of that negative energy to the side from his past, and really focus on, I guess, the theme of love and togetherness and embracing each other, supporting each other, and really just bringing love back into the world. And I think that's a great idea. Whether he decided to do it as a political thing or it was just a personal thing. There is a quote from one of his songs, one of my favorite songs from Charles Bradley off his first album called No Time for Dreaming. It's called The Golden Rule. You can check that out on Spotify. Probably one of his best albums, was his first one. But he said in that song, "Why can't we show more love to make this a better place?" And I think that's really, if you do that in your life and you can get that across to other people some way, any way, I don't care how you do it, just make sure that other people around you know that you love them and that you're not taking each day for granted, because this is the only life we got. This is the one shot we have to make things right. So with that said, I'm going to dedicate this to Charles Bradley. Rest in peace, sir. I really enjoyed your art. Thanks for rocking us all out, and thanks for bringing us some great tunes. I think Mr. Charles Bradley would approve of my purple scheme right here, because I have drank the purple juice on this quadcopter. I am totally into this Kool-Aid. This is some really good stuff right here. They're around $150, and it is a more expensive frame, but it's also a pretty hardcore frame. I flew it quite a few packs already, and I mean, I abused it in the playground. I smacked it straight into playground equipment, metal poles. This sounded like a hammer pinging off the metal pole. Full speed, front on camera impacts, and this camera just keeps going. You do get full Betaflight OSD on here, and you can update it to Betaflight 3.2. It came with 3.1, but I wanted to fly a little bit better with dynamic filtering, so I just turned that on inside Betaflight and started rocking out in the playground. And this is one of those quads that it seems like I can't relax. My fingers are going crazy when I'm flying this one, mainly because it's so nimble, it's so fast, and it does have enough throttle for recovery. So we have the top plate on there, that's 2mm, and that's pretty nice. We don't have a run cam on this one, which is, the run cam micro is really nice to have on something like this. But you might be able to squeeze one in there, but this frame looks like it might be a little bit too narrow for that, because these props come in pretty close right here. But I was able to get a really nice tilt out of this camera, and you know, with these all-in-one cameras like this, you don't need a whole lot of camera angle, because it has a huge field of view on here. So I've got pretty substantial tilt right there. I was able to get this one going probably a little faster than I should have gotten it going. But we're rocking some 1104 7500 kV motors on here, and that's one of the reasons why it's so punchy on 2S. Now, it did come with a really nice case, and it came with two 2S 500 milliamp batteries, and I kind of prefer 500 these days. 450 to 500 is kind of a standard for 2S micros. And this is that battery right here. and it's nice. It's just enough juice to give you a good flight time, maybe 3 to 4 minutes, 3 minutes if you're really punching it out. It's a decently rated C rating on this battery of 30C, so it's going to perform decent. It does have a JST connector on here and in the back of the quad as well. It does not have the XT30 like a lot of them are starting to have, but we also have a really nice flight controller on here. We have that Omnibus F3 on here. So that is a really decent flight controller. There's not a ton of vibes with this one. I could probably tune it a little bit better and get a little bit better tune out of it, but the F3.6 DOF is a pretty decent flight controller. And the cool thing about this also, guys, is it has that 20x20 mounting on the bottom of this. So if you brown out your ESCs or you have a problem and need to replace the flight controller, you can do that no problem and not have to worry about having an odd space flight controller or being stuck to one flight controller. Now I went ahead and set up on D-Shot 600, and it has 10 amp ESCs on here, so you might be able to push 3S on this, but I probably wouldn't. I would probably stick to 2S on this particular quad. It's going to fly better. Once you throw 3S on something, you kind of, a lot of times with this small of an airframe and these small props, you end up having to kind of retune it in Betaflight. So stick to the 2S batteries that came with it. You should be good. Now this quad also comes with a buzzer, which is really great because it is kind of small and you probably wouldn't see it very well out in the grass, if in the tall grass, if you do crash it. So you can set that up on your transmitter inside Betaflight. It also comes with 2 LEDs on each side, which are also really, really bright. You can see it in the grass pretty easily. Now keep in mind this video transmitter antenna sticking off the top there, that is pushing out 25 milliwatts. So you're going to get about 100 meters out of that. That's not too bad. And you also get an extra set of those 2035 props in the box as well, another set of purple. Now this is the case that comes along with the SPC 95X, and it's nice because it's large enough to hold the quad in there with the props on, so you don't have to take the props off. You see it fits just in there, but everything fits in here quite nice. They have an extra zip tie in here, and I suggest using that on the back right there where your battery wire comes out, but I was able to get like 6 batteries in here, so pretty cool little case, and it's big enough even to accommodate larger size quads, maybe like my Leader 120. But it's a pretty nice case. They even have their logo on the front now, and sort of a kind of a mesh canvas outer exterior, and I wouldn't say this is waterproof, but it's pretty nice, and it has a little handle. So let's go ahead and charge those batteries up, guys, and go out and do some flying. All right, guys, let's do a little line of sight flight test with this little new SPC Maker quad. I'm just flying it on 2S right here, so pretty punchy even on 2S. I was so excited to, I've already flown some batteries with it. I'm so excited to fly it earlier. I just couldn't slow it down. Flies really good. This battery might actually be getting close to finished. But flying in acro there, I've got a pretty big receiver on it right now because my other receiver died. That's okay, I got plenty of receivers to pop another one on there. Now this one's super fast, super nimble. This is like everything that I want in a micro brushless, mainly because rates on 75 just seem to be really, really nimble. It flips and rolls on a dime. It's tough as nails. I crashed it into the playground equipment over here several times, and it just sounded like a hammer hitting these metal rails. I probably crashed maybe like 3 or 4 times straight into the poles. I'll try to show you guys some of that footage. It was actually pretty awesome, but this camera takes a beating and just keeps on going. Actually, those front posts look like they're bent to the side just a little bit maybe. But if you're looking for a super ultra tough frame, this one's it for sure. This 3mm bottom plate, 2mm top plate seems to be where it's at. So let's go ahead and do some FPV, you guys.
just do you in. Ain't it a sin? Ain't it a sin?